As 2016 draws to a close, there will be numerous changes in the wacky world of Multimedia J. WWMJ's 10-year celebration will conclude with the decommissioning of the Delosaurus. The Classics series on Daily Motion will finish the year with Classics versions of the remaining videos from 2006. And the Chillin' at Jay's Geek House and RadioStyle series will undergo stylistic changes to give them some more concentrated coolness as opposed to simply being side series. Thank you for a fun 10 years and have a safe and happy holiday season.
MultimediaJay RadioStyle.
It's a tad bit 80s, it's a tad bit pop, it's a tad bit rock, it's a tad bit electronic, and it is completely from the YouTube audio library. It's a new bump music theme that I am working with called Cameras by Albus from the YouTube audio library, and it represents the first of various changes that I will be making as we head into 2017. Welcome everyone to MultimediaJay RadioStyle. This is Jay, aka MultimediaJay, coming at you on this lovely Wednesday evening, November 30th, 2016. I almost messed up saying the year by saying 2000 something again. I haven't done that on a regular basis since 2009. It must be a Freudian slip from me looking at the very beginning of the RadioStyle series, originally uploaded October 7th, 2009, and the subject of today's discussion as we head towards the end-of-year changes that are taking place. Now, the pre-roll, whatever you want to call that monologue that I did before everything started, was basically just a quick rundown of what I'm looking to improve for next year and what's going to happen before the end of this year. I am looking to conclude the 10-year celebration, perhaps early, with the decommissioning of the Delosaurus, saving the case to use that as like a case for a joke system with something way more powerful than the original Celeron from 2000 that machine originally came with. Over on Daily Motion, for those of you who have not been following, the Classic series is basically redoing 2006, which, as far as I'm concerned, is a golden year of YouTube. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of looking through rose-tinted goggles because it was kind of, there's stuff like the AVGN becoming popular during that time, and there were game reviewers whose videos I still will watch nowadays. I still find them entertaining 10 years later. And yeah, sure, they didn't have the production value of the Angry Video Game Nerd, and the Irate Gamer jumped all over that when he burst onto the scene in 2007. But before all that nonsense really began, I mean, the whole situation with the AVGN and all these classic YouTubers in 2006, you could just tell when you think, if those of you who were around back in those days, when you think back to the YouTube of those days versus today, a lot less corporate influence and a lot more self-expression, so to speak. There wasn't all these little gotchas or anything like the Content ID system or anything of that sort. And, there's people out there that are wishing that there would be a new website that would take over where YouTube left off in that respect. But unfortunately, I think what would happen when that happened is ultimately the cycle will just continue and over and over again. Yeah, sure, maybe MySpace gave way to Facebook, but if YouTube gives way to something else, what's to say that something else couldn't become the next YouTube as they got bigger, and especially when they already have YouTube's lessons to learn from the very beginning. Regardless, the past on YouTube is worth a discussion some other day, perhaps even a special of some sort over on the Daily Motion channel. We're not here to talk about the past, though. We're here to talk about the future. So, of course, it's not the end of the Classics series. Theoretically, anything I put on YouTube can be converted into a Classics edition after enough time has passed. So there will always be stuff I can put on Daily Motion later on. But hey, 2007, I've got a lot of older vlogs and stuff from the mid to late 2000s that haven't seen the light of day on YouTube in a while. Some of them might be a little bit bizarre, but this is YouTube we're talking about here. People put all kinds of stuff on there, which leads perfectly into the next part of the discussion, and that is basically the RadioStyle series, which you're listening to right now. Initially began in 2009 for me as a protest against YouTube shutting down the original version of the profiles. The profiles had a lot of features. There was a video log feature and stuff that you could actually use to feature other people's videos on your channel page, and that's something that people think would be taboo, but it actually was a way of promoting other people whose videos you liked, because you could write up little entries and stuff like that as well, and I used to do that all the time. Matter of fact, I have some dormant playlists from that time period called MultimediaJay's Featured Favorites, buried in the dark recesses of the YouTube channel. They're still in the playlist section all these years later. I'll bet a good chunk of the videos on them are broken nowadays, but those Featured Favorites playlists, date back to those days before the original channel got shut down, and there was more socialization as a result. If I wasn't making something at the time, if I wasn't making any kind of video, I would have no problem whatsoever with promoting someone else's video that I happen to really like on my page as well. It was kind of like there was a MySpace element to it. You had your page. Yeah, you could record videos and stuff, but if you were taking a break for a while, you could put someone else's work on your page and direct traffic to their page. There's just more socialization and everything back in those days. And that is what I was protesting when the RadioStyle series initially started. But if you walked up to me in 2009 and you told me that audio commentary on YouTube would evolve to what it is nowadays, I never would have believed you in a million years. You see, when I first started this RadioStyle stuff, I thought it's kind of like a parody of talk radio to an extent. When I first started this, podcast in disguise, as some folks have alluded to over the years, when I first started this thing, it was basically a protest, and I was expecting to get flamed for it, because YouTube up to that point was about vlogs and viral videos and maybe a coherent series if you put enough effort into it. But ultimately it was about, putting videos on here and stuff. But today you have a lot of stuff that videos is a very loose term to describe what it is. So these audio commentaries with the picture that I do and others do, or the gaming video commentaries where someone just tacks commentary onto gaming footage. I mean, all of this is borderline not a video. And here I was in 2009 expecting to get flamed for not uploading a real video when I first started doing this stuff. I had no idea that not only would people not make fun of it, except in extremely rare cases, and I'm talking like a year or two ago with making fun of Warlords of Draenor, someone finally said, how come your RadioStyle segment is a video if the picture doesn't change? Of course, I knew it was a troll. And the reason why I knew it was a troll is because this audio on YouTube thing has been long legitimized on this site. YouTube even does it with their content ID system. I'm speaking, of course, of those generated videos, and I use that term loosely because they just have a picture tacked onto some generic format. There are songs that don't have music videos that are basically on YouTube, and they're in the Content ID system, so the record company can monetize any videos that use that music. But if there's no music video, you'll find a picture-ish of maybe the album cover and some pattern, and then they'll have the name, the artist, the record company, blah, blah, blah. And then it's basically a generated video that's part of the Content ID system, and of course people go looking for it with the search box. They'll stumble upon the generated video, and some ad revenue can go to the record company. It pretty much turns YouTube into a giant jukebox, and that's why some of the protesting against some of the like musicians that are going nuts about streaming and stuff like that, they're protesting YouTube because YouTube can double as a jukebox under the right circumstances. And that's without people uploading like anime music videos or something that gets claimed by the Content ID system. It's not even with that. I mean, record companies do that. I mean, I'm finding songs on YouTube that I had a hard time finding on MySpace back when MySpace was first becoming a big destination for music because indie artists would upload a few tracks to their MySpace pages. Yeah, we're going pretty far back when YouTube is playing hardball with mid-2000s MySpace, but that's pretty much what's happened. And not only will you run into generated videos, but you'll run into generated channels as well. But first, one last note on the generated videos. The generated videos will have in the description provided to YouTube by something, rights holder company, record company, etc. And then there are generated channels where the channel is the name of the artist -topic. You might have seen a couple of those if you've poked around looking for music on YouTube recently, and you've stumbled across something that didn't have a video but was added to the Content ID system. That stuff was generated, sends a little bit of ad revenue to the record company or whatever, and yeah, it's this is the thing. The reason why I bring this up, the reason why I'm talking about this, is because I thought when I first started doing this audio commentary stuff in 2009 that I would get made fun of for it, and that it would be, I might even get disciplined by YouTube for it because of the whole picture thing. And I don't even abuse gaming footage. I mean, I used to do pastiches of Total Biscuit and Review Tech USA, but I don't really want to get involved with that anymore because of what that crap has done to gaming videos. Completely different discussion altogether. But YouTube, not only did I manage to do this stuff for years now, but YouTube has adopted some of that themselves officially through the Content ID system. And not only is YouTube officially doing some of this, but you, the listeners, have actually spoken up and said that you like this stuff. You're using it as a podcast, which is its intended use. You're getting over the fact that I'm uploading little quick videos in 240p because there's no video content. It's just a picture and some commentary. But you're actually turning up the volume and listening to them like you've downloaded a podcast off of an RSS feed. I almost said SSD feed. It's like, what? You're actually listening to these like podcasts. And the thing is, one of the reasons why I even started these in the first place is because I caught myself doing this very thing with vloggers. If I knew that they were just going to say their piece in front of their web camera and not really do anything except sit in front of the camera and talk, I found myself listening to them more than actually watching, them sit there talking. I would be playing a game or doing something around the house and I'd crank their sound up and I would be listening to them like it was the radio. Ergo, this, which takes what was going on with vlogs on YouTube back in those days to its logical conclusion. And now it's officially supported. YouTube does some of this as well. But despite all of this, there is one lingering problem with this whole setup. And it is something that I myself have been doing wrong. I guess you could say I've been doing this wrong for years at this point. Despite the positive feedback and the radio style commentaries actually getting me more positive feedback than the Wacky World of Multimedia Jay this year, WWMJ hasn't been doing well in terms of the feedback. I've mostly been getting, I've had more troll activity in more insidious ways this year than in lots of years gone by. Some of it has to do with some of the sharing that's going on. Maybe folks need to look into who they're friends with on social media. Oh, I'm sharing stuff. Sorry you got flamed. Well, you might want to pick some better friends. We've had a few of those this year. But the biggest shortcoming is on my part, because I actually indulged this whole idea of a side series in the first place. Main series, side series. And to the people that are listening to these as serious podcasts about topics that they're interested in, it's a slap in the face. And it's a slap in the face that has gone on for long enough. Why even bother having a side series? I know that what I'm doing is what used to be called a variety channel back in the days before the original YouTube profiles got shut down. But why should I shoot content in the foot like this that people are enjoying? It just doesn't make any sense. But for years, maybe I was like major skills, minor skills, like I played too much Morrowind or main quests, side quests from the various video games I've played over the last several years. Since I first started playing Morrowind. Actually, Morrowind was over 10 years ago. Who am I kidding? But this whole main side thing, it's not fair, and it's not accurate, and it's not a good way to treat people who like stuff like this podcast stuff that I do. It's not a good thing to do, and it needs to end. So for 2017, I think it's time we got a little bit more serious with this stuff. This started out as a protest against YouTube, this audio commentary, radio style thing all those years ago. This started out as a protest against YouTube, but you know what? It's gained an audience of its own. It's gained fans of its own. And if I weren't so side series, I wouldn't be surprised if this could actually get more interest than WWMJ, because what the heck am I doing in those over-the-shoulder videos anyways? Oh, look, another video of me goofing around with a speaker or a computer or whatever. But if people are talking about things in the news, if they're talking about things that I could opine on and put this Blue Yeti to some use, there actually could potentially be more interest in trending, not even trending topics, but there could be more interest in me sounding off about things I'm passionate about that I'm running into on news feeds, etc., than, oh, look, he's goofing with such and such computer for the umpteenth time. So for 2017, I want to get a little more serious with the RadioStyle series as something that could hold its own without needing to be some kind of second fiddle to WWMJ. Matter of fact, let's set an audacious goal of abolishing the idea of a side series in 2017, because the whole main series, side series thing goes against what a variety channel is all about. A variety channel is supposed to be about a variety of content, not first tier, second tier. No arbitrary levels, so to speak, with this sort of thing. So what I have in mind so far is taking a few cues for the RadioStyle series from some respectable podcasts that I've listened to over the years, and maybe even taking Chillin' at Jay's Geek House and turning it into some kind of somewhat pastiche of the old Tech Syndicate before the split up. The one that folks liked with the whole, with the music and the offbeat take on technology and the simpler format and things along those lines. I think there's some potential there. These are just ideas that I'm tossing around at this point, but ultimately, what you've been hearing in these discussions and what you've been seeing on Chillin' at Jay's Geek House and whatnot, expect there to be some changes, because ultimately, I just want to have some fun with this sort of thing, and that's one of the ways that I could picture myself having some fun with this sort of setup. But this whole thing with side series, it needs to go away. Should have never existed in the first place. It was a mistake to even talk about things that way to begin with, because that just demotes stuff that people like. And if people like something, why demote it? Or make it look like it's a supporting role or something like that? 2017 should be an interesting year at the very least. And part of that is going to involve moving forward with changes here and elsewhere. Listen for them, and thanks for tuning in. This is MultimediaJay signing off. Thanks for stopping by.